Hey guys, welcome to Wanderlusting Lawyer. I'm excited I got my new Camino tattoo. It says Ultreya with kind of an integrated arrow design. I have gotten a tattoo now after both of my Caminos. This was the one I got after the Camino Francés. So excited to have that as, just my little way to commemorate my journey. I did the Camino Aragonés earlier this summer. I did the final few days on the Chemin d'Arles in the south of France that connects with the Camino Aragonés at the Saint-Port Pass at the border of France and Spain. That's a bit east of where Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port is to start the Camino Francés. But I'm actually going to take us back to my Camino Francés and discuss today a question I feel like might be one of the most commonly asked questions by people who are discovering the Camino for the first time, and that's how many days do I need to go from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago? And obviously this question is extremely dependent on the person, right? So the person's level of physical fitness, maybe experience with longer hikes or with hiking with your pack on your back, how you approach visiting a country, a new country, things like that. So I'm just going to give advice, I guess, based on my experience, but just please keep in mind, take this with a grain of salt. Your experience may be different. And as always, please, the comments are open to discussion about maybe your experience or your thoughts. So personally, I walked from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the south of France to Santiago in June and July of 2018, so the summer months. It took me 34 days to arrive. That included 3 rest days where I did not do any walking at all. I just stayed in the city that I had arrived in the night before. That also included a very short first day of walking just to Horizon, and not all the way on to Roncesvalles as the majority of people do. I have another video where I talk about staying at Horizon and why you absolutely, in my opinion, should stay there, why it's completely worth it, even though, yeah, you probably can make it to Roncesvalles in the first day, why it adds such a unique layer to the Camino experience. So, I had 3 rest days and 1 very short day. And then the rest of the days, I'd say the day to Roncesvalles was the next shortest day. I had 1 other day that was under 20 kilometers. That was, I think, the day I went to Astorga. And then all the rest of the days were at least 21 kilometers, between 21 and maybe, let's say, 35 or 36. So I think that was a doable amount of time in which to do the Camino. I know I would have loved to have at least 1 more rest day. I was struggling from some really bad blisters on my pinky toes, really after they started to come the day after I left Burgos. And I took a rest day in Pamplona after walking for a few days, then again in Logroño after walking for a few days, and then I did not take another rest day until Astorga, which I think was close to another, maybe like between 12 and 14 days of walking, pretty long days with no rest days. I needed a rest day in there because it would have allowed my blisters to dry up and get hard, and then I could have walked with a lot less pain for several days. But I was so fixated on getting to Santiago on July 24th to be there for the fireworks that night, and then the 25th is the day of St. James del Santiago, so I wanted to be there for that celebration. And it was worth it. I wouldn't do it again, but it was definitely worth it. So for me personally, I was, how old at the time I walked it? I think I was 33. I was really physically fit. I am a former college athlete, but I had never really done any hiking longer than maybe in like a couple hours. And I had certainly never hiked with 15 or 20 pounds on my back. So, my body it took me a little bit of time for my body to adjust. And then I would say my my mileage though was really end loaded. So in the last week or so, I was doing multiple 30-kilometer plus days. I loved it though. I was feeling great then. My blisters were healed. I didn't want the experience to end. So I was able to do that. But looking back, I think 35 days for me instead of the 34 would have been excellent. A lot of people say they've done it in 30 days or fewer, and you absolutely can, but I did the math on 30 days. That's a 1 month period of time. Let's say that's all you can manage. I did the math on it, and that if you're not taking any rest days, that comes down to almost 27 kilometers a day, which is close to 17 miles a day. I would say if you want to try that, you should be very experienced in hiking with weight on your back. I mean, unless you're having your pack transported, that's another option. I never did that, so I can't speak from that experience. But I think that distance day in and day out is going to take an extreme toll on your body. I speak from experience from my recent Camino Aragonés, which was, I just did 9 days straight without any rest days. And my body was really tired and beat up by the end. So I mean, personally, I think 30 days, it's a really tight time frame. If you're going to do that, there may be a few areas maybe you do want to go on straight ahead to Roncesvalles, because you have less of an incentive to meet people necessarily in Oison, because you're probably not going to be staying on the same pace as everybody else. And that's the thing about it, is one of the important factors in determining how long you want to take. Maybe whether you are walking with a companion or alone, and you're going to want to meet people as you walk, because everyone walks at different speed, but almost everybody does end up taking, at least everyone I saw ended up taking at least a handful of rest days, like at least 2 or 3. And so if you're going to be walking straight through with no rest days in 30 days, there probably won't be a lot of people. Every day you'll probably be meeting new people. So perhaps there's less incentive to kind of have that connection with people at Horizon if you're not going to see them for much longer. But that's obviously a personal choice. I'm just trying to help brainstorm ways to make 30 days doable. There may be a day or two that you skip. I could say leaving León might be a good day. I remember that being a long slog out of the city. Things like that. There may be a couple of days that you end up taking a bus or a taxi, and maybe you. I think I met a girl from Romania who I think walked the entire way from. I can't remember where she started, but I think it was Roncesvalles or Saint Jean in 25 days. But she just was walking all the time. I mean, she barely had any time to stay and, to speak to people at night, but that was the way she wanted to do it. So it certainly is doable, but I don't think you can predict the kind of toll that walking that much every day with the weight on your pack can take on your body. So my recommendation, if you have the time, is to budget 40 days. I think 40 days is a fantastic amount of time, because it'll allow you to take rest days at least once a week, if not more frequently, every 5 or 6 days, which personally I believe is instrumental in preventing blisters and injury. And it also, if you decide to go at a little bit faster of a clip and you don't take all those rest days, it leaves you time either to spend several days in Santiago or exploring Galicia when you finish. Or if you want to keep walking, it gives you the time to walk on ahead to Finisterre and or Murcia. So to me, 40 days, like if I could go back and do it again, or if and when I go do it again, I think allowing myself 40 days would be the optimal period of time. But again, it is doable in 30 days. You may, if you're going to try to do in that a period of time, consider at least on some days sending your pack ahead. I did it in 34 with 3 rest days, so really that was still 31 days walking, but those 3 rest days were crucial in helping me to feel better. And it is funny about rest days, because sometimes I would feel kind of like rusty the next day, like my body was a little more sore having taken a day off, but I think it did protect my feet for a long time. And I think my philosophy is that I got blisters after Burgos and continuing on because I hadn't taken any rest days. And when I did take one in Astorga, all of my blisters healed, and I didn't have any for the rest of the Camino after that. So those are my thoughts. Again, 40 days, if you've got it, it'd be a great amount of time. You can take it more leisurely and see more and do more. Let me know your thoughts, and muy buen camino.